All right. So what were you talking about? Gun range. So what's
Oh
this?
shit. Okay. So my homie, he's like, you got to be Patrick Bateman for this podcast.
Patrick Bateman?
You are Patrick Bateman. You are the man. Because before this, we went out. I was like, swing by town a couple hours early. All right. We swing by the gym, get a little pump going. Swing by the gun range, get a little bit of adrenaline rolling. You know, it's all about honestly what it comes down to. The other day, I was thinking about like, what is the ideal version of me? Like, because we always think about this shit. We always think about like, oh, I want to be this person. I want to be this person. But we never really think about what that person does.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do I do? I need to start going to the gym.
Yeah.
I need to start actually waking up on the first alarm and not like putting it off 20 minutes.
Dude, it's hard though. That's one of the hardest parts.
Ever since I made that agreement to start getting up on my alarm, I have not once done it.
Dude, I'll tell you one thing. Look, so there's actually one little trick that I learned. So your first alarm goes off. The first thing you're supposed to do is stand up. It's hard. It's so hard.
But I'm so comfortable.
Or especially like, dude, if it's cold and you don't have if you don't have like a shirt on.
I'm uncomfortable right now. Like I want to be in bed right now just from you saying that.
Yeah, dude. It's like the warmth under the blanket, dude. It makes it so nice.
God.
Yeah, bro. I get what you're saying. But what you were saying though is how do you become the best version of yourself?
Yeah, like what is the actual day-to-day life?
Yeah.
And obviously Patrick Bateman is not my ideal life. But it's like there's something to be said about little things like that. It's like we all kind of know how we could get there, but we all kind of just want to already be there.
Well, dude, that's the thing. So many people know what they should be doing. So many people know how to improve their life. It's the person in yourself that like has to make the decision to change those things. There's I don't know the quote or whatever, but there's this saying. It's like you have this image of yourself in the future, or you have your image of yourself after you've done those things.
Yeah.
How to do that is just become that person by the little things that you do every day.
Yeah.
So waking up early, going to work early, or things like that. That's the best way to, bro. You were talking about the gym and gun range. I bet that what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I can. I keep wanting to flex like just all the time. It's crazy.
How does a gun range make you feel? I do. I love it.
It's nice. They've done research on this.
Yeah,
like there is genuine just good chemicals in the brain. You don't even gotta. I go there just to practice and like actually improve. But even if you're just gonna go down there with some friends, it takes like you can go down for like you can get like 10 shots for $10 a lot of places.
Just dude, 10 shots is not enough.
That's the crazy thing, bro. I think it is. Like, I'll go down there for 30 minutes because I'm trying to like practice and improve. But this is what I always do. This may not be healthy.
Yeah.
If I've had a really bad day at work, I just go down the range, 5 shots, I'm good.
It's good.
I'm good.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think it's like a power release?
I don't know.
Because, bro, for those of y'all that have not shot a gun, dude, shooting a gun especially if it's not something that you're accustomed to. Like if you didn't grow up in the country and been around guns your whole life and then you kind of get introduced to it.
Yeah.
Shooting a gun is like a fucking rush of adrenaline.
Oh yeah.
But why is that? Like, is it because
I don't know.
What it can do, or like, you know what I mean?
I think it comes down to like nature versus nurture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it human nature to just like, oh, I've done something powerful,
right?
Or is it the nurture, like the social element of like, we have this like anxiety, around guns, and it's like, you know what I mean? I think it's a little bit of both.
Well, dude, there's a lot of anxiety around guns for lots of different reasons.
Yeah,
because I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. There's I'll give you 2 examples.
Okay.
There's sometimes when other people can make you feel uncomfortable, but then there's times where you can make yourself feel uncomfortable, like with a gun. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I don't want to get too touchy on the subject, but like, that's a problem. Some people, it like their mental health, and then having guns around them can be a problem.
I didn't even think of that.
There's the stigma of like, if you're not good here, you shouldn't own guns for those reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to shooting them, bro, you get this crazy, like, especially, have you ever been out to like a farm and shot like targets in the ground and stuff? Or like torn up a tree?
It's been a long time.
Or like torn up a tree?
It's been a long time.
Yeah. It's fun though.
It really, I need to find a good spot like that.
Dude, the gun range, we don't got to talk too much about the gun range, but dude, I had one time where, so I have this Glock. I don't know what model. I'm not too like gunsmanship or whatever.
I have a 1911 because it's just the classic.
Classic.
So like I don't really I don't know all I know calibers a little bit, but like anyway,
that's what I'm saying. I'm not too familiar, but I have a Glock, and so one day, dude, I had just the spontaneous idea. I wanted to buy a 30 clip and just. Dude, so I went to the range, which if you've never been to the range, it's fucking expensive. Like you're talking $10 for 10 shots. That's expensive. Like, because a 30 round clip, bro, it's gone in 30 seconds. You know what I mean?
If there's calibers going for like $250 a round.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Like I think the lowest I got 9mm and it's like 25 cents a round.
Yeah.
Like you can just feel that's the one thing. You stay there too long.
Yeah.
You stay too long, you'll just feel the money. Every time you pull the trigger, you're like,
bro, the gun range is pissing money away.
Oh, it fucking is.
It's pissing money away, which is so fun though. That can like kind of get us into the topic. Like we'll use gambling as an example, right?
Okay.
Gambling can be considered this really bad thing.
Yeah.
It's really like addictive, bad thing, right? But there's a part of gambling that I always think about. It's like, say just theoretically, you and your homies want to go out for a day. And you go to the movies, you go to eat, and then you go watch a show or something. Just three little things, right? So at the movies, you're spending $25. Food, you're spending $25, and then whatever the other third activity, you're spending another $25, right? Yeah. $75, $100 in a day,
easily.
However, that money is spent if it's because it's an activity to go and gamble.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So is it really that bad, or is there definitely like a part of it that can be good? Like
I think the key is the social element.
The social element?
I really think it is. I think once you start gambling regularly by yourself, I think that's when it becomes about the gambling. It's like a
problem.
It's like an addiction to the game, which isn't to say, I mean, it'd be one thing if you just really like, maybe you go to horse races, but again, that's still like a public thing.
Right.
But it's like, I think it really comes down to the people that like play poker on their phone.
Yeah.
Or like poker online. It's like, at that point, it really just is about
just gambling.
Yeah, it's just gambling. It's not really like, I guess it could be a hobby, but I doubt. I begin to doubt.
Yeah. And I'm not advocating for gambling because it fucks up a lot of people. But but I'll say this, on the flip side of it being bad for some people, it can be amazing for some people. Like, this new wave of Prize Picks has blown the fuck up, bro. It's got people betting. Well, it's a new sports app.
Okay.
And this isn't an ad.
Yeah,
this isn't an ad. Yeah. But like, dude, there's this new culture around the sports betting online, and it's crazy because, bro, it's like I've lost some money doing it. I mean, it's fucking, you throw $20 on there, bet on a few players, and then, but it's like I can see why people get hooked, bro.
It's a rush. Again, we're talking about adrenaline rushes. Yes. It's just like it's.
But okay, let me ask you this: What is a good way to get an adrenaline rush, and what's bad? Or is there even a good and bad way? You get what I'm saying? Like, is there?
Yeah, I struggle to say there's a good and bad way. I think it's like the constant, like all things to moderation, even moderation. Like, that being said, you could say that there's like positive and negative like ways. And like, for example, like you could get an adrenaline rush from doing like a PB.
Yeah.
Personal best at the gym.
Yeah.
That's like, you could argue that there's a positive, there's been a positive buildup to that. Whereas like getting an adrenaline rush from losing $100.
Yeah.
Like you could say you can argue good or bad, but it's still like you've lost $100.
Yeah. Dude, I've told this story on the podcast before, so I'm not going to go too deep into it one time, but I lost a big portion of money gambling one time. And dude, I think that one big time was enough for me to be like, tell the story. Okay, so
hit me with it.
So I was at I off and on I've collected basketball cards for lots of years.
Okay,
and so we were at a card show in Rupp Arena downtown, and this is like Rupp Arena hasn't had too many of them, I don't believe. So this was the first one I was ever in at Rupp Arena. Anyways, it's a big card convention, and anytime there's a big gathering of people, there's people trying to take advantage of people.
Oh yeah.
So it's one of these little games, one of these like little carnival games that. So the game it's a bunch of ping pong balls, and it's got like an arm, and it's got like a little scoop on the end of the arm. And then so you reach into the big container of ping pong balls, and you got to grab one. And then there's a game, and the game was revolved around weed and a bunch of bullshit. So you've got to get all these numbers, and like you got to get to 100. So each ball costs like $5 or whatever.
Yeah.
But each ball has something on it. So this ball might give you 5 more points to your desired amount.
Yeah.
And then this one ball might make it no points, double the cost per ball. So this is where it gets juicy, right? So after a certain amount of time, you're getting close to this number. You pay $50, $20,
Yeah,
which is like a normal amount at some like little game like that. And then you're like this close. You're this close to winning. So you have that feeling like, oh, dude, I can put another $20 in, right?
It's $20.
Yeah.
Right. I don't need to eat this week. It's fine.
So this adrenaline, right? So you being this close to the victory, I'm like, dude, I just need to keep putting in money until I win. But that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game, right?
That's how they get you.
Yeah. So at one point, I think each ball was like $500, and total I lost like $3,000, which was retarded. Like it was crazy. And it was so defeating walking away, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't get punked like that.
Well, no. So
it's rough. It's like once you get the ego in it, once you get the ego of winning, it hurts so bad.
Well, bro, it's like if I can give anybody some advice that goes to conventions, festivals, and has these type of games, just don't go, like, watch people play. Like literally just watch people play, right? The funny thing is, so out of this $3,000 that I lost, I did get a Switch. I did get probably some other little thing, but like it's after I've lost $3,000.
Yeah.
So it's like,
who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't really fucking matter. And bro, I'm not gonna lie to you though, I was like a madman. Like the feeling of doing it, I was like, I just need to fucking do it. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. And then I fucking, and then no, what happened was the price of the ball doubled again. And then it was either like $500 or $1,000 for the next ball. And I was like, dude, I can't do it. I can't spend that much on a fucking ball.
Yeah, I can't do it.
And so like I said, I had to take the walk of shame. Home.
Damn.
And it was bittersweet though, because like I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. My feeling was amazing. Like,
it's a story.
The adrenaline, it was crazy, but it was so like defeating, bro.
Yeah, it's just
and also one of the most defeating parts about it was like I knew even while I was doing it, and most of these people know this, it's a con. Like they make games for you to not win. It's like betting against the house.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And dude, I fucked up. But
you have to fuck up once, and then you know.
Yeah, but
you didn't need to know
that much. I don't know. But no, look. So we'll use that as our transition to our next topic.
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to talk about with you is intrusive thoughts.
Okay.
And so the reason why I wanted to bring this up though is because I was watching a podcast, and one of the hosts that on this podcast was talking about intrusive thoughts, and we'll use this as an example, and don't let your head run wild when I say it at the first, because that's what happened on their podcast. But the example was being around a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever just like wanted to throw the baby
every day,
or like like for instance, you got a little brother or something, he's running and you like want to trip him? That's an intrusive thought, right?
There's some comedian bit about that. It's like, why do they have to tell people not to shake babies at the hospital?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have to tell. Why is that something that they shouldn't
crazy.
Be like a... But apparently...
People don't know not to shake your fucking baby.
Every like parent... I've heard... Obviously, I'm not a parent, but every parent I've talked to, I've heard they're like, you just look at them sometimes, you're like, I just want to shake it. It just looks shakeable.
But no, so intrusive thoughts, and kind of why I wanted to bring it up though, is like what causes intrusive thoughts, and why do people have them? And it's so interesting on what they can be for individuals. Like some people's intrusive thoughts are a lot worse than others, or some people's intrusive thoughts are reoccurring a lot more than others. Mm-hmm. One of the things that after I, was kind of thinking about it, and I wanted to study it a little bit. I watched a TED Talk today, and the guy was talking about most intrusive thoughts are caused by anxiety. Mm-hmm. And because the anxiety of like something not happening, or the anxiety of something not going the right way or something, can cause intrusive thought to like spark.
Yeah.
Or like say you're in like a harder time in your life, the intrusive thoughts can be more repetitive because you're going through that mentally every day.
This may actually tie into, because I know earlier you had mentioned this and you were talking about those kind of like dangerous intrusive thoughts.
Yes.
Like the most common one I think is like, just drive off the road.
Yeah.
Just drive off right now. And it may be, I'm not a big expert on this, but maybe this is related. I know one explanation for that is called the call of the void. Have you ever heard the call of the void?
No.
Basically, it's the idea that your brain, your like subconscious mind is seeing dangers.
Yes.
Right. And maybe not directly relating them to you. Like it's kind of noticing is
like
there
like you could be on the road driving. You can die, but you're not, like you're just
driving. You're kind of like you're subconsciously you're like, who's about to hit me right now?
Yeah.
Who's about to hit and just kill me right now? But how does your subconscious mind communicate that? When it actually sees, when it's like, when maybe it's not something that you directly see.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy's going to hit me, but it's like something's off and your subconscious mind needs to direct that to your attention. The idea is that the only way it can really do that is just by like telling you to do the thing,
thinking of
that you should not do.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe that's why when we're going through like anxious times, specifically, it recurs a lot because your subconscious not too good at distinguishing things. Yeah. Call of the Void. It's like you're standing on the end of a ledge and it's like, you should jump right now. It's just saying there's a ledge there. Don't fall off.
Right. Bro, speaking of when you were talking about the cars, dude, one thing that really fucks me up about that is that's so common for people.
Oh yeah.
Like there's literally memes about it online. Like that, like there's a stigma behind it. Like the 50-year-old gets off work, he hates his life, and he's like, oh, I'm just gonna go wrap my car around a tree.
Yeah.
Right? Like those intrusive thoughts, bro, why are other people so much worse though? And a good example of that is why I bring up the car thing again is I wonder how many people's intrusive thoughts have led them to make a decision that either kills themselves, kills somebody else, or hurts somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, like what is it in a human that makes them act on an intrusive thought? Because everybody has them in different ways.
I haven't really thought about that, honestly.
It's fucked up, bro. It's like, cause okay. And then we'll get in, this kind of gets in the conversation of like self-control, like, obedience and, like discipline.
Yeah.
Because if you're disciplined, you're obedient to like, you know, laws and shit like that stuff. You obviously know that there's like repercussions to your actions and stuff like that.
Like why do some people just not?
Yeah. But some people do, like I said, how many times do you think that somebody's had that intrusive thought to drive off the road and they've done it? But like, it's like the story, and not to get too dark, but like the people that have jumped off like the Golden Gate Bridge, right?
Yeah.
It's like halfway down, they're like, dude, this is the worst decision of my fucking life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What is that moment? What happens in that one moment where you actually do it?
Yeah. Like what makes a human do that?
Yeah.
It's very fucking, it's grimy to think about.
Yeah. That's one of those areas. It's like, I don't even want to make a guess because it's so foreign to like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Maybe there are people that understand how that kind of stuff works. But
well, back to the TED Talk a little bit. So he, like I said, it's most of the times it's anxieties. It's like foreign dangers and stuff like that. But he was talking about how it's because it's anxiety, if it's treated in the right way, it can cause you to change to do a lot of good things.
Yeah.
Like for instance, say you have this intrusive thought of like, trying to think of a good example. Say you have this intrusive thought of like selling your home. Right. Or like for somebody that's had a home for years and then they get this intrusive thought, they're like, oh, I just want to sell my home now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is that an anxiety? Because, hey, you could have an anxiety about the market crashing, or you could have the anxiety of like, oh, maybe I want to have kids and want a bigger house or, you know, stuff along those lines. It's like,
I actually heard an interesting theory about this. And it goes back to the idea of your subconscious trying to communicate with your conscious mind. And it's basically saying you'll notice things recurring. So like you ever you hear a word or something and for the next week, like a word
every time you hear that word again, you're like,
just
oh
like,
shit.
Oh my God. Basically the idea was that that is constantly happening. Coincidences are constantly happening. Why do you notice certain ones? And it was your subconscious mind is trying to communicate something to you. So it's like if you constantly are like, oh, how much is that house worth? Or like how much? Oh, there's a lot of people selling their houses. Or like whatever it could be. Maybe it's like you're trying to come to a decision to do something in that area. Right.
So you're pretty much saying like the signs are normally your subconscious telling you that
basically there's signs for everything all of the time.
It's your subconscious noticing it before you.
Exactly. Because there is a sign for literally, like you can come up with a sign for anything.
Yeah.
But what are the signs that you're noticing? a lot.
Well, okay, then that gets into the conversation of like fucking advertising and marketing.
Oh, that's a fucking
dude. That's a whole rabbit hole in itself. Like,
oh my God,
dude. All right, we're back. So what we were talking about before the break, though, we were kind of talking about advertising, and how that played into the signs the subconscious sees before the conscious.
Oh, it's programming.
Yeah.
Like there's a documentary. There's a documentary about Facebook.
Okay.
And it was a bunch of these like engineers that used to work for Facebook talking about what the design philosophy and process and like basically what is how do they make money off Facebook?
What is Facebook?
What is Facebook? And basically one of the engineers' stories was like Zuckerberg would come to them and he's like, I want dials. And it's like dials of like, I want people to be buying more clothes. I just want to turn up this dial and people will do that.
Right. And
he was basically saying like the engineer was like, we never finished it when I was working there, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's if that's like a thing. If he just has a dial, it's like
that
more
makes
conflict.
Yeah, I was about to say that makes sense because it almost seems at the drop of a button, there can be some type of image or propaganda pushed quickly.
It's crazy.
Quickly. Like for instance, without going into too much detail, we all remember, like, even if you're not in politics, you remember like the whole laptop thing.
Yes.
So like I said, without saying what it is, everybody knows the laptop thing. You heard about how like Twitter was working with the FBI to like suppress the fact that was happening.
I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, well, like Twitter was working directly with the FBI. Like I said, I don't want to go too much into detail because I don't care too much about it. But
it's
just the fact that like something. The reason why I thought about it was the dials.
Yeah, they can just. It would not. All of these people that work in these fields would basically say it wouldn't be surprising at all if there's literally just a value. You put a value in there. And it just because it's all algorithm.
I need to make this in the next day. How can we promote it to enough people to make this that day?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucked up to think about, but also I will say this on the flip side of it, as a company, there is things that like people like us don't know how. Like I'm optimistic in the sense like as a layman when it comes to big business and big pharma and all these things, right? I think it's important to also understand though that we're not in the position, so it's hard to have an opinion sometimes. Because you never know. There's a few things. You never know what you would do in the position. You never know how the things are actually even run. Like, back to what I was saying, though, you have to be optimistic in, like, hearing these things. You know what I mean? Because I don't think it's all bad, but definitely it's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah,
it's just weird. It's one of those things, it's hard to imagine a situation where it's not being abused.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like it's weird in that kind of way.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this, though. Do you think that... just with what you said, they don't abuse it because they know what it would do, or they do like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, it's. I think what it comes down to, what a lot of people miss. I think we have a culture, especially in the U.S., of treating corporations like they are people, like there's a person running it, which isn't to say. I don't mean they're not people. What I mean is it's not. There's never one single person.
Yeah, it's never one idea.
It's kind never, of, it's like, it's really, that's what's scary to me about the economy that we have. It's not that it's being abused, it's that it's not being abused because nobody is really directly like, it's kind of just, it's like a machine. Open. It's like an AI. We've almost created this, like, they say the free market regulates itself.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird to me. It's like, the free market, that's assuming that the free market wants what's best for us. Like, it regulates itself, but what is it doing?
Well, like, just going off of what you just said, if it regulates itself, wouldn't that be better in theory? Because it's like kind of just like we're observing less of like there's people that can take advantage of it, and I'll use the blockchain as an example. One of the reasons, or the whole thing that like there's an argument for it, is that it's decentralized, and there's no one thing running it. It's just a thing that people like kind of observe and use.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I get where you're going. I think what concerns me about like capitalism and our economy that we have in the US is I think that's what we did. I think we saw a lot of places that the economy was being abused because it was very centralized and like there's somebody in control of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not advocating that somebody needs to control the economy.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I think we've done a lot very similar to marketing in Facebook, where we've basically created a market algorithm. It's not programmed by like a computer, but it's programmed through our laws.
Through our laws and actions.
And yeah,
dude, and this is fun. This is something that I think it's interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
When we talk about these things, like you said, the dial, right?
Mm-hmm.
So another thing that comes to mind when you say something like that, it's like, yeah, they can turn up the dial, but it's people's actions at the end of the day that make that possible.
That's true.
For instance, you could see 100 fucking ads to buy this one product. That does not mean you have to buy it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny how sometimes like you could be talking about two completely different things, but they can kind of lead to the same thing. But it's like self-control with all this marketing, bro. It's like, and also just listening to people's ideas and people's opinions and stuff. You just have to think constructively. You have to think like, you know what I mean? You can't just hear it and take it wholesale.
I think it really just comes down to like the micro and macro of the economy is like, we were talking more about like the macro of like, can you make more people in general buy something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, through influence, yeah.
Yeah, but on the micro scale, you can't really make any one individual.
Yeah, exactly.
Do one specific thing.
Yeah.
It's like at the end of the day, it is an individual decision, and those factors that we're talking about kind of affect more just the general population.
Yeah, definitely general for sure. I mean, yeah, it's just definitely a general thing.
Yeah, it just depends.
Well, with that being said, we won't talk too much about economy and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But so no, I wanted to talk about something that we talked about before, and when you said it, it was kind of one of those moments I was like, oh shit, there could be something here. You know, it's like when you hear it, you're like,
I think I know what you're about to mention.
Yeah. So we were talking, I don't even remember what started the conversation, but we were talking about what if it's possible that there's a threshold on humanity.
Yep.
Would you like to kind of elaborate on the sentence, and then we'll talk more about it?
So I believe the official term for this idea is the Great Filter.
Okay.
And it's basically this idea that humanity is not here, I should say it this way. There's a couple of theories as to why there's no aliens. This may be where we started. There's a couple of theories of why we haven't discovered aliens. One idea is we are literally the first ever. There has never been another. We are the first ever. We are the precursors.
Which would be nuts. Absolutely insane.
Nuts to think about.
Yeah.
Other theory is there's been a ton of them before us, but there's some kind of thing, some filter that is, soon as you hit that, it's like, for example, the theory really is that the Industrial Revolution is the filter. It's one of the big ideas of what the filter is. It's basically maybe every time a civilization, every time a new species or new organism reaches the Industrial Revolution, it reaches that point in science, there's this timer that starts. It's like, you are going to destroy your home planet in the next 100 years. Irredeemably destroy. You will not be able to save it.
Yeah.
Can you, in 100 years, go from the Industrial Revolution to colonizing other planets successfully?
So, dude, look. In theory, dude, this is why this conversation can get so juicy, because there's so many different ways it can go. So, say we're the first, right? We're the first fucking people. Does that mean the movies like Transformers and fucking those kind of things? It's just like, that's like, okay, I know you've heard the theory that like the Matrix and the movies, I don't remember the other series, but they're like precursors and like they're real. They're not like science fiction. Like the Matrix is, or Terminator, I think it's Terminator. Well, anyway, I think it's like Terminator is supposed to be the precursor to the Matrix, but the Matrix and all of it is real. Have you ever kind of heard that?
Not really.
No, but well, the reason why I say that though is because what if all these like movies that we make are like kind of ideas that we have for our future? Like the image I have in my head that makes me think of it is, if we're the first civilization, but we know of things like Transformers, right?
Yeah.
Say we become like like we can travel planets, like we can, make a lot of different things. Like, make whatever we want.
Are we going to build sentient robots that we send to other planets?
Yeah, bro. I mean, fuck it. We already do it. We already build robots and send them to other planets.
That's true. It is in our nature.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Are we the Borg? Are we just going to become machines and take over literally everything?
What progresses, if we are the first, what progresses from here?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, like you said, if the threshold, and this is why I'm intrigued about this, the threshold is like, it makes so much sense almost. Because imagine there is, like you said, a time limit. And say it's like 100 years. And within that 100 years, you have to learn how to get out. You have to learn how to get out. And for the true fans of the podcast, there's something called the ant farm theory, which was like our first ever good video. And in that video, I kind of was like, what if humans are like ants and, you know, we're just not smart enough to get out? Yeah. What if we're not smart enough to get out in that limit of the 100 years, that threshold? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's kind of... It's freaky to think about.
Yeah.
Because it puts a lot of it's like an anxious thing.
Like, what if we become a dying star one day?
Yeah. It kind of, I don't know, it makes it feel like the end is closer than we think.
But okay. That's a juicy conversation.
Yeah.
Because the end, what is the end? Is the end, let me ask you this, is the end the end of the world, or is it the end of the world as we know it? Or
I wish I could remember the quote. There's like this quote from some movie. It's like, we all thought the end of the world would be like an asteroid strike or like something like that, or like zombies or like this big event. And it was really just like, we destroyed our planet and became weaker and weaker, and then one day there just wasn't enough people left.
Well, dude,
and we just died out.
Yes. Okay. We actually might be talking about the same thing, because just to throw something in there, like kind of as an example, like for instance, there's a reason why the richest man in the world is saying that we need more humans.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? There's like, what if we're at a point now where just theoretical as well.
Yeah.
What if like the world has hit max population and kind of through lots of different factors, we dwindle down, and the end of the world isn't this big apocalyptic.
Yeah. It's not
like not a volcano that ends the world, or it's not like an asteroid or something. What if it's just like, we can't sustain mass production?
Yeah. We like grow accustomed to technology, and then when it falls apart, we just die off. We've lost all the, bro.
I was going to say, go ahead with yours. I have a question.
This is it's kind of another topic.
Yeah.
It's kind of another, but.
Well, then I can just ask mine real quick.
Go ahead. I'm happy to segue into this.
Oh, shit. Oh, gosh.
What the fuck?
I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And I heard that you boys were talking about the apocalypse.
Fuck yeah, the end of the world
is here.
Grab a fucking beer.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'll pop.
Let's get in.
I'll drink another.
Goddamn.
All right. Apocalypse talk. Now we got Jonah. We got Jonah in here with us.
What's up, yo? I don't know how I got here. I just heard this shit in the ether, and I was like, I gotta get over here.
Yeah, we'll fucking.
He's a force of nature.
Remember the 400-year-old vampire just show up.
God.
Well, I appear to be 13.
It's true.
Real quick. Do we have a bic so I can open this?
Oh, I do have a bic.
There we go. Just toss it.
Oh shit! Ready?
Yep.
Magic?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Ooh, it was caught too, dude.
Let's just make it flawless.
Flawless victory.
Woo!
There we go.
Ooh, okay, I mean,
all right.
Like, I think it's a perfect time to talk about the end, though, dude. It's getting dark outside. The environment is right for it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm ready for the end of the world.
So right before our pause, though, again, we were talking about the end of the world. There was something on the flip that I wanted to say, though. We were talking about how, what if we are did we end on the first? We're the first or the last people? The last?
I think. Oh, we were talking about how basically we may have already passed a threshold.
Hey, Jonah, clap that 40. Clap the 40.
I'm sorry. I had to do that to y'all, dude. Did you catch that on camera? This motherfucker just used my skull as an ashtray. Did we get that on tape? Am I alright? Did you fuck me up, bro?
Yeah, I don't think.
I will never be accused.
Did you fuck me up?
Nothing.
Did you fuck up my lineup, bro? Good. Is my shit?
Check.
Thank you, dude. This is very ape-like of us, man. That's how you know evolution was real.
All right, so back to it though. But we were talking about the end of the world, and did we end on we're the last?
Yeah. Basically, it's already over. We've already destroyed the planet. There's nothing we can do. We're gonna die out.
Right. Okay. So, with that being said, though, what if? And this is just a theory.
Mhm.
Imagine all these other planets are failed civilizations.
Oh shit.
Ooh, like Mars. Okay.
Yes.
That's very good. That's very cool that you say that.
Like,
because
what if
they saw the rivers that were going through Mars? So there was water there one time, and anywhere there's water, there's life.
Yes.
So
yes. Yeah. I'll puff it. Yeah.
It could have been a long time ago.
Let's see
It
the
could have been a
flick,
very
flick.
long time ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So imagine a million years ago, or okay, we won't say a million years ago. We'll say longer than that, like before Earth's known history, right? Or not known history. You'll get what I'm saying.
Oh, I got a little hot take on that.
history.
Known history. I got a little hot take
Known
on that. We
history.
can go into.
Yeah, we will. So,
Like
but,
the observable universe, observable history.
yeah, okay. So
observable
say
history.
before like we start talking about humans and stuff,
Yeah.
what if the failed civilization is Mars? Or what if the failed civilization is these other planets that are around? Like, what if they had life forms on them? They don't even have to be humans.
Right, exactly.
They could be any type of life form, but because they either hit the threshold or didn't reach the threshold, that's why it's a failed civilization.
Over.
That would be, but let me also ask you this.
I go so hard on that.
Let me ask you this, though.
Please do.
Do you think there would be evidence, or do you think that it would be so old, it would kind of just be like, we have also.
This goes right in. Okay. Perfect segue. Have you heard this shit about Egypt?
I love me some Egypt talk.
About Egypt. Basically, Egypt was the precursors. They had an apocalyptic event. They were It was technology, baby. It was the future. Talking like shit we haven't even thought of
Exactly.
yet. And then, great filter. But not everybody dies. Not
Full circle moment. Full circle moment.
Exactly.
Not everybody dies. So what if the end of the world, as they knew it, is what created our civilization today?
Exactly, because they got all this shit we can't explain.
I mean, it's not even just the end. Okay, so like dinosaurs, right? Let's go back to like when we were kids.
Oh shit.
Dinosaurs. Okay, so there was other species that existed at the same time as dinosaurs, and one of them were mammals, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, the mammals, they were able to get into those little greasy little holes. They were. They were able to get down into them little nooks and crannies and all that stuff. And because of that, they were able to avoid the asteroid blast, avoid like the radiation that came through that.
Right.
And because of that, we are here now.
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing. It's like, and it could be other species too. If we inevitably knock ourselves out, there are like literally over hundreds of species that do nothing but work for the planet and do good for the planet that will easily take our spot. And in a million years from now, if they're
What do
the
they
main
become?
predators, they'll be the life form
Yes.
that is the main life form. It just, I don't think that life could ever end, but I think that species,
It's just different.
yeah, species
just changes.
easily die
That's
off.
there's a whole Futurama episode literally about that.
Dude, I'm a big believer in so I have this conversation with one of my buddies. He's been on the podcast before. But I have this conversation with him all the time. I'm an optimistic person.
Yeah, you have to be.
For the most part, I'm an optimistic person. I'm optimistic in the sense that I believe humanity, even though if it's not as we know it today, if it's not humans being what we are and what we're known as and shit, all that, right? I think I'm optimistic in the sense that the world will continue to go. Like I think the end of the world, like as a world,
It's
like,
kind of egotistical when you think about it. We're like, the planet is dead.
Yeah,
It's like, no,
Yeah.
we
It can never
will
really
be
die.
dead. We will be dead on the planet. The planet will be fine.
Exactly. Like plants and stuff and life and all that kind of stuff. When it dies, there's certain plants and trees that they will die off for an entire year, but once it is the suitable environment for them to grow again, it will come back. And so that's one interesting thing too that I'll bring up is that let's say through like a global warming or some kind of man-made crisis, we destroy this planet, right? Well, would it destroy the planet or would it just kill off our species? And then once our species has been killed off, the planet is just going to regenerate because that's what it's done,
evolve
from the beginning of time.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes, bro, and that's what I'm optimistic for, bro. I'm optimistic in the sense that, like, for instance, we've already been through a end of the world moment, which was the dinosaurs.
And we had two catastrophic events that wiped out multiple species. The Ice Age too.
Exactly. So with those being said, I mean, haven't we already had different
filters?
Yeah,
thresholds.
There's been different filters. There's been different thresholds. This is where it gets juicy, boys. Okay.
Oh shit.
So now, with what is here available, our resources that we have, now you're throwing in the the advancements in technology.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They might not be advancements, but they're just different. And what I mean by it, they might not be advancements. There's probably things that were around, let's say in Egypt time, and that's why some things are unexplainable. There was probably things around that were
They had a
great,
different path of science.
Yes, it was great technological advancement, like extremely good technological advancement, but it's just we don't consider it that because it's not the same as ours. It's not the same as what we consider technological advancement.
No, exactly.
I know
You know what I'm
there's,
saying?
there's a couple
Exactly.
of theories that the reason we can't explain the pyramids is because they had power tools, but they weren't electrical power tools.
Well, it was
Like,
because
it
of
was-
the aliens, man.
it was some
because of
other
those
shit.
Motherfuckers right there, dude. I'll
It's
tell you
fucking
that.
like gravity powered or some crazy shit. Like,
Or I mean, this was a big thing on like the internet and TikTok and stuff too as well. Like, have y'all seen those the people that do the vibrating the
Yeah,
and
throws
it picks up something. Yeah. Dude, stuff like
Some
that.
nice shit.
It's cool to hear
Crazy.
about because like, bro, it's just so sad or not sad, but like stuff like that isn't taught.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't, but on the flip side, you can't expect people to teach that because that's not something that even really matters.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're
Like-
going through school. It's like we got levitation class today, guys.
Okay. Fun.
It's hard. Yeah, no, it'd be different, man.
Fun way to segue what you just said into a new conversation.
Yeah.
How do we as people decide what is the right and wrong thing to teach kids?
Oh, okay. So listen, I think in me personally, I think that like kids are the future, right? Kids are inevitably.
They
we
have
were
always
kids.
been.
Yeah, we are kids too. I know that a lot of people they want to try to not expose a lot to children, but you know, I think that you should expose a child to the world as is, and the more that child is exposed to the world that is, they're able to like overcome these obstacles. There are
Right.
so many obstacles that I had to slowly overcome throughout my entire life just to get to the point that I was now. If I was taught those lessons, and I mean, I'll give half of that to the fact that I didn't have a father that stuck around.
Yeah.
But if I was taught any of those lessons at an earlier age, I feel like right now I'd be way more on top of my shit. People hold back
Yeah.
on their kids. People hold back on parents and stuff. They
Yeah.
should just show them like
Flip-
what's up.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just want to throw something in there with that. But at what point though is like I agree. Well, I'll say this first. I agree with you.
Off topic. My bad.
No, you're good. But because I agree with you 100% though,
Yeah.
because I believe that overexposure. Okay, I'm trying to articulate this the way I see
Yeah.
it.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
So-
a lot of people wouldn't understand.
The way that 2 seconds. So as children,
Yeah.
you want to expose them to a lot,
Exactly.
right? Which because at the end of the day, that ends up making them stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly.
Type of
Exactly.
conversation,
Exactly.
right? But also at the same time, though, how much of that is avoidable? Because
Exactly.
with times changing and all the other outside factors, what if you're teaching them something that deters them from their path?
Oh, exactly. No, and that's
know what I
that's
mean?
a really
Like-
difficult thing, and I don't mean to cut into what anyone's saying.
No,
But,
no.
Excuse me. It's a really difficult thing because if you overexpose them to things, I mean, if you take a case, if you watch that Jeffrey Dahmer series on
Yeah.
Netflix,
Oh,
his father would collect roadkill together on the side of the road and
Ooh.
stuff, and they would dissect them because he was a surgeon and he was a doctor. And Jeffrey
Nice.
Dahmer, he really took an interest to that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so you can look back and you can say, okay, because you
Exactly.
overexposed him to these things, that created
Yes.
the monster that he
Yo,
became.
That's
It's
kind
like-
of full
it's
circle
like,
to what we were talking about earlier.
Well,
Remember the influence and like,
Yeah.
yes, subconscious.
there's this idea of like a book of evil, right? Let's say
Yeah.
you have a book of evil, and it's like anybody that reads the book turns evil, right?
Yeah.
What if it's more of like an age thing? It's like if you read the book before you're 13, or like before you've reached a certain level of maturity, are you just going to go insane? But then once you have a better understanding of the world, once you're a little older,
And you can read it there.
Then you can read
have
it.
to experience you have to experience things sometimes before you understand them.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can be told something, you can be shown something, but unless you've gone through that experience and lived it in your life, you'll never actually have a grasped understanding.
Well, yeah,
of what it
experience is the
Yeah,
best
exactly.
teacher.
like
Going
maybe
through
you
something.
need like a grandparent in your life to die before you can dissect roadkill.
Death. Or
You know
or
what I
like,
mean?
or
You
that's-
need some sort of other
Emotional
introduction.
connection.
that was a
Yeah.
good example because not specifically with like the dissecting, but the good example would be, for instance, as a child, you can't deal with death. Like you kind of don't even know what it is.
You do, exactly.
You
Like,
know what death is. Like you hear people talk about it. Some people go away.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Exactly.
But until it hits you in your life, you don't really know what it's like until then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So until you're exposed to that emotion, you're just kind of in the unknown.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're in the void, you could say.
Well, then I retract my statement from before. Maybe it's better to underexpose kids because they don't have the full understanding of what it is anyway.
They don't have the emotional.
Okay, well then I
connection
reach.
to
I
it.
But
retract.
no. This
Somewhat.
I think, but this is a good conversation because this is like, at what point though?
I think the big problem is that we assign everything to age.
Yeah.
Which I think we say age because it's like most people will have a grandparent have died by the time they're 13.
Yeah.
So we say 13 is like a stage, right?
Right.
But really,
preteens. So.
maybe
Or just teenage years. Honestly.
yeah, like teenage.
Oh, yeah,
like
you're right.
maybe that's wise because there's like a lot of experiences that
Right.
usually happen within
In that
13.
age. Yeah.
But it's too generalized basically. It's like really ideally it would be you get a cell phone after this point. Or like,
Right.
you know, instead of an 8, it's like you get a cell phone when you're 13, it's you get a cell phone
After
when,
you're kind of like.
after you've experienced a certain
Yeah.
number of things.
Well, okay, I had this thought the other day, and I actually didn't even plan to talk about this at all. Funny enough,
We're out here.
but no. So age is important to know, but you can't credit it like okay. That might be hard to understand what I said, but
No,
like
you're
my example would be like age is important to know because it's a good idea. For instance, when I say that I'm 20 to somebody,
Exactly.
Mhm.
they can be like, yes, he spent 20 years on this earth.
Exactly.
He's gone through these, whatever he's gone through, right?
Like job
It's just kind of, it's kind of just like
experience,
a understanding. But I think it's bad when people are like, oh, this guy's 20, that means he's stupid. Or,
Exactly.
this child is 15, 13, and that makes them stupid.
Exactly.
I don't think it should be like that.
Oh no,
but it
kids
is
are
important.
Smart, dude.
Like
kids are almost a lot smarter than we are. I've been like,
Oh, yeah.
I've been
Getting
online
Getting
playing
dumber
games
by
with
the day.
kids, and they've roasted me, and I don't even know how to come back. Like
Yeah.
like some shit I haven't felt since like middle school.
You
Straight up.
You just warp back
Yeah.
to the original Xbox. You're like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, like these kids, like they like they're a lot smarter than we think you are, and that's why that show exists. Are you smarter than a 5th grader? Because unfortunately, a lot of adults are not.
well, no. Here's a good thing to throw in there as
Yeah.
well, though. It's like, how much do you forget things that aren't in your everyday life? And
all the time.
a good example of that would be like,
I forget people that aren't in my everyday life.
yeah. But a good example of that would be like,
Thank you.
we'll just use sports as an example.
Yeah.
Say you play tennis until you're like 10 years old, right?
Right.
But say you don't touch a tennis rack and a ball until you're 30.
Exactly.
There's going to be that point where, like, when you're 30 and you touch it again, you're like, oh fuck,
You're
What-
rusty.
what's
Rusty
changed
yourself.
in the sport?
Exactly.
What's changed in the sport itself? What muscles do I not have anymore?
Exactly.
It's like, the reason I'm using that as an example, though, it's not always so much like based on, I don't even know how I'm trying to explain it. I don't know how I'm trying to explain it, but no,
It's all right.
yeah, we'll kind of segue into one of the other things,
Yeah.
and then we'll talk about. I think I got 2 more, and then we'll get into the nightlife.
No, okay, hey.
That's
you
where it
know,
gets fun for you
deny
boys.
that.
where it
Everything
gets fun.
leads to the
Yeah.
nightlife. It all
All right.
leads to the nightlife.
So we just talked about the thresholds and the limits on society and stuff.
Yeah,
a little bit, that kind of topic. I wanted to talk about first world problems, and I put this in my notes to say it like this, just because I don't want to come off as one of those people. All of us are very thankful for our opportunities and what we have, where we live, what we're able to do, what we're not able to do, stuff like
Right,
that.
exactly.
Right? Everybody's very thankful for that, and I just want to say that first.
Absolutely.
But on that topic, though, first world problems are bullshit. And my example I wanted to start the conversation with is, for instance, I am somebody, and I've talked about this on the podcast multiple times. I care about what deodorants and what soaps I use on my
Exactly.
body, which is a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, there's people in other countries that can't take baths. They don't have
Exactly.
clean drinking water.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
fucking,
dude,
it's
let
crazy.
alone even be able to think about taking a shower.
Yeah.
Think
Come on
about
now.
what soap you use, bro. You're blessed if you've got soap.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's
Like,
a little thing.
you know what I mean?
I lived in Venezuela for the first 7 years of my life. I was born down there, right?
Really?
Yeah. So when I was born in
didn't know that.
Venezuela, we lived in an actual tarp, right?
Yeah.
It was a tarp tent. Okay, there was no like running water, there was no sewage, there was no anything. When we had to take a shit, we had to go outside in an outhouse, but the outhouse was just a wooden box, and then there was a bucket that was in it, and a hole cut in it, and you would shit and you would piss in that, and then they go dump it out. And this was in Venezuela, and a lot of people think that Venezuela is extremely wealthy, and there are wealthy areas in Venezuela that you can live. But the thing is that I feel like a lot of people, specifically in America and Europe, they don't realize that in other places in the world, life is not this easy thing where you don't even get the opportunity to bitch about the things that we bitch about here. That's the last thing on their mind. They're worried about how they're going to get food in their stomach. They're worried about how they're going to clean the infection on their arm they got from farming all day, you know?
Hey, let me ask you this question. This is where it gets like kind of juicy as well. Is that in another way, but sometimes is that could not whoa.
You got it.
Yeah, fucked up my words.
It's these things, man. I'm telling you, you get one. It's
bro,
like 17% alcohol.
I'm like two sips in one. But no, so what I was saying though is, in other ways, you could almost say that that's a better life sometimes.
Exactly.
Ignorance is bliss kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
What are your all's opinions on that? Because, for instance, we have this amazing life. We have this crazy, like I said, abundance of opportunity and abundance of resources and stuff. Yep. But that can also be a problem. It can confuse you and shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Great thought on that. I was reading this today. There's a book or an article or something about bullshit jobs.
Yeah.
Bullshit jobs. And I think it comes down to a combination of the two things you're talking about. It's basically like, I think that yes, there's great things going on. We really, on a global scale, we don't really have too much to complain about. Like we have all our needs met. We, of course, that stuff can go away quickly. We have to keep on top of it, but we're doing all right.
Yeah.
But we don't use that to actually focus on good things. Like,
right.
We're like, we need more paperwork. We need more accountants. We need more business lawyers. And there's nothing wrong with those jobs in particular, but it's like it's an overwhelming amount of we've got. You know what?
But the crazy thing is though, there's so many people that are unemployed.
No, you're right.
There's so many people that are unemployed.
I feel like that's a post-pandemic thing too.
Yeah,
a lot of people. I do think that a lot of people like they were working and then the pandemic hit. And a lot of people, you know, they got fired from their jobs. Their businesses ended up closing down. Yeah. A lot of fuck shit ended up happening. I'm sorry, I don't want to cuss and ruin a clip, man.
No, you're good. You're good.
But I think like post pandemic, like a lot of people, like, you know, they just got scared. They got scared of going back to normal life. And I feel like the reason you don't see a lot of employment is also because people got pretty damn comfortable.
Collecting checks from the government.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, here's what
I sure as hell did. I'll tell you that.
Fucking lucky. I never got one.
No,
this motherfucker got one too.
I got 2 stimuluses, man, and they were tight. And I bought a car with one of them, and I bought a vacation with the other one.
I didn't get shit.
Thank you, Joe Biden.
What the fuck?
No, but honestly,
no, I think.
Yeah.
If I may, I think this is my hot take on it. I think we as a culture need to get more comfortable with the fact that we do not have the manual labor needs of the amount of people that we have.
No, you're right.
We, as a country, everybody does not need to have a job.
Not everybody, true.
No, like, that's why not everybody does though.
Well, what I'm saying is like, we look at unemployment numbers and we're like, the classic thing for the last 20 years has been, we need to create more jobs.
Yeah.
We have unemployment. We need to create more jobs. But if we're creating jobs that aren't actually benefiting us as a society, then like if everybody gets like we're always talking about like the impacts of everybody of like I like universal basic income.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it, honestly. And we're like, oh, but people won't work.
Yeah.
We don't need the workers that we already have. We have this idea of like everybody has to have a official job.
Well, I think the important part about it is when we take away the individual part about people, it's more of just like you said, we need to put our resources, no matter what they are, put our resources to better things.
Yeah,
in general. Just in general. Like I said, it doesn't even we're not talking about individuals, right?
Yeah.
When I say that. I'm just talking about in general. Like
it's a waste on a national level.
A big scale. Yeah. It's a very big waste. And you know, I've had this like reoccurring thought because with the introduction of like the AI and technologies and all that stuff, what did jobs become in 40 years?
Yeah.
Like what did jobs become? Because if you've got no fast food, that literally takes a portion of like the US's workforce.
Yeah.
A very large percentage too.
Like, bro,
Yeah.
do you understand
Very
how many
large
food jobs there is in the US? It's ridiculous.
Well,
Right.
and anybody that can't get a decent education, you know, they're forced to go there too.
Well, yeah.
And there's really nothing else that is provided for those people at all. I worked with a
But what
guy at
happens-
McDonald's that couldn't identify Kentucky, and
On the map?
yeah, on the map. So I'm saying
There
like,
are signs
but that's
everywhere.
exactly. But that's what I'm saying. And then you wonder, oh, like why the fuck would people want to use robots instead of human beings?
Yeah.
That might be why. That might be why.
But yeah, there's pros and cons to both sides of it.
Absolutely.
I mean there's pros and cons to both. I mean, it's the same thing. Actually, we'll use this as the segue to the last thing I want to say before we get into the party life.
Sounds good.
But we'll segue over into the topic of like, there's so many differing opinions. There's so much going on in the world, and not only the world, but the US. What is the right way to govern?
Mm.
And if there is a right way to govern, have we even gotten there yet, or have we passed it? Like,
Oh, dude,
like
oligarchy, bro.
yeah, it's-
Oligarchy.
That's
The only way to go.
the question gets so deep because if we haven't gotten to the point where we've hit the right way to govern, what is that? How long does it take us to get there? What does it look like? How bad is the resistance? You know what I mean? How bad is the resistance to change?
Well, so far, I can't really tell. And I think that's another question of debate is whether we are in a republic or what is it called? Why am I blanking out right now?
Oligarchy.
No. Like there's like the
Republic of
Republic or
Democracy?
democratic democracy. That's it. So there's like question whether we're in a public or a democracy. But regardless of whatever that is, whatever America has going on right now has been kind of untouched for a very long time, a lot more than other places have been touched. But that doesn't mean that it will last forever.
Yeah.
And I think that like inevitably, like democracies and republics are going to end up in some kind of oligarchy or hierarchy type state, much like what you see.
So you think
with
they're not
Europe.
sustainable?
No, I don't think they're. I think they're sustainable. I think it's the most sustainable government that we've had, probably in a very long time. But I don't think that it's so sustainable to where it can
Like forever.
outlast like time itself.
This is a little hot take I'll give y'all, and I really would like to hear your opinion on this. All right, so not to get too much back into guns, not to get too much into politics.
It's fun though.
But gun control, all right? We talk about gun control a lot, and we always talk about the Second Amendment. Now, I have my own opinions on gun control, and I'm not going to get
just
into...
everybody does.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the actual opinions of that, but something I always say about that debate
It's all good
is...
though. It's all good, everybody. It's only good opinions, if that makes any sense.
yes, it is.
It's only good.
I only agree with the majority.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever you all think, that's what we're thinking right
exactly. No, it's basically this idea that I have that we talk a lot about the Second Amendment, and I think we need to admit that the Second Amendment means military might. That's what they intended, right? We talk
military might.
like the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms.
Yeah.
They were talking about military level, like military grade weaponry that they had at the time.
Yeah.
Like that was, they were talking about military, they were talking about militia, they were talking about being able to overthrow a country, right? Now we can argue that I think we argue too much about what they meant, like, oh, did they mean this? Did they mean that? When we should be, I think what we'll eventually talk about is whether or not we should, like, that rule is still applicable.
Yeah.
Like we talk about the wording of the rule, but really we should be talking about
Like if it's just
is it still good in 200 years? Is it still something that we want? Do we still want people to bear military grade weaponry?
Can I give you just throw this out there. So when I talk about gun control, I like to just throw this into the mix. I think one reason why the US is what the US is, like when we're talked about on like a global standpoint of like weaponry, like we're one of the leaders of the world in weaponry, right? Not only that though, I think that we have the biggest army in the world. Maybe not numbers literally, like
I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
We definitely don't have the biggest numbers, like
because
I'm talking about like the people that have applied for the military. Those are not the numbers that I'm talking about. The numbers that I'm talking about,
like active military members.
No. I'm talking about like our civilians are the biggest militia in the world.
Oh, yeah.
That is why nobody invades America, because America has the biggest army in the fucking world.
They will be overthrown.
Bro, you try
by
to
the
invade
hillbillies.
Florida, bro, you're going to have 500,000 crackheads with AR-15s coming at you. Like, that's why we don't get invaded.
Vietnam veterans and shit, dude. That they know what they're doing. Afghan people, they all know what they're doing, dude. Come on now.
I obviously don't. When it comes to war and actual logistics and stuff, I'm not the biggest. I don't.
But it seems like something you would worry about,
bro. It's no. What I'm saying is like it just seems like that's why shit doesn't happen here. Like
it seems like a deterrent. It's like,
and we have don't we have the most nukes out of every?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I think I wouldn't be surprised.
I think we have the most. I think we own the most.
I think there's also propaganda tied into those numbers that you hear.
Maybe the true shit. Yeah, they're like, we have the most.
Please
don't test us. Please don't test us.
Conspiracy theory. All right, are nukes even the most advanced thing anymore? Like, who's to say? Is nukes really even like the thing that people are worried about?
My crazy ass grandpa told me that they made laser guns in the military. So if they're making laser guns in the military back when he was in it, which was like 90s and shit. So, I mean, who knows?
Mic drop moment. This is a mic drop moment. I think, and I'm not trying to be that guy because I have absolutely no idea what the fucking state of the world is.
Exactly.
I have no idea what the state.
We don't know what's going on.
I don't want to be that guy.
Happening?
But what I will say, with that being said, what I will say is, I think World War III is not nukes. And let me like go into this conversation just a little bit. So everybody knows nukes will pretty much end the world as we know it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So they're kind of just like white flags thrown up, like, hey, we've got them, don't fuck with us. Exactly. And that's just how it's like a big circle.
It's like having
of
a penis on you, bro. Yeah.
Just a nuke is just a big penis. Yeah. In politics, right? So, but what I think World War III is, and again, this is what I meant by I'm not trying to be that guy, but what if we're in World War III? The World War III could be technological warfare. Warfare through viruses.
We could be in another.
That's the mic drop moment.
It would be through viruses, and I'm not going to say anything, but I think that we all know that it would be through viruses,
bro. But that's just one of the current new factors. You're saying, is nukes the most dangerous thing? No, because it's the most dangerous thing on a global scale. Because if you drop 5 nukes on the biggest continents in the world is not going to look anything like it did. Exactly. What I will say though is that does not mean World War III is not going to happen or isn't already happening. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, so think about this, right? When and I'm not laughing by any means of thinking that this is funny, but the reason I laugh is because the connection is kind of funny. But
dude, if it's funny, it's funny. Just laugh.
The connection is funny, but when Europeans first came to America, they brought diseases with them through the livestock that they had, and that the Native Americans did not have. And they ended up giving like almost half of the population of Native Americans a disease, and that killed them like almost completely off, not totally, but it because there's obviously, you see Native American people around now, but it killed off a lot of their population, and that was before we could control it. Now we can control it and send it
that's scary,
5,000 miles away if we wanted to. So.
Bro, one thing he said, bro, that kind of intrigued me. Imagine America if America would have been colonized by its original colonizers.
Oh, that would be. I'd probably almost rather live in that America. It just depends, man.
But you have.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be wild.
It could be crazy.
Just imagine though.
I'd have to learn more about like Native American like culture to really make a full grasp on that, because they could be cool. They could be a lot cooler than American culture.
I wonder what their technology was like. I wonder what.
Like the medicine and stuff. The medicine was different.
Yeah. Exactly. I wonder. Yeah, bro.
What would we have? What
would America be if?
That's so weird to think about.
I know.
Dude, that's so weird to think about, because like we're the American.
We're English American. We are English American.
We have Western medicine, and people will even say that from other countries. We're Western media and all of that kind of stuff. So it's like, if what we have is Western medicine, right? What does other kinds of medicine look like? And is it
full circle moment? Full circle moment. Being in the U.S., that's why we don't know about this shit.
Dude.
That's why we don't know about it. That's why we don't know about it.
Exactly, dude. That's why in North Korea they say that America is the enemy, and America attacked them, and America did all of these bad things to them. But to us, our government will tell us, oh no, North Korea, they're bad
no
people.
idea.
But we really, until we go to North Korea and we like figure it out ourselves, we can talk as much shit as we want to. We can watch YouTube videos or whatever we want to do, but we don't know. And the people who think that they know, they don't know shit. We don't know anything, man. We don't know shit.
I think we are surprisingly. I think in history books this will be an isolationist era of the U.S. I think we are in like an isolationist kind of era.
No, and true, especially coming out of the pandemic where it went into total lockdown. I mean, everyone was living online, but no one was really living.
Elaborate isolationist.
Well, I remember from history class.
Yeah.
Back to 8th and 9th grade. Shout out Miss Green. Basically, isolationist. So the country that they use as an example is Japan. So Japan was on an island, and a lot of ancient history describes Japan as developing a very different culture because they were on an island, they were isolated, and they didn't really let a lot of people in.
Yeah.
Apparently it was a government decision. It was like, there's a lot of war going on for whatever reason. We're like, we don't really want
not included
in any of this. And I think that in 100 years when they're writing the history books, right now the US is in that kind of same. We're basically on an island, essentially, like from Europe. I think Europe is kind of the center.
Not to discredit what you're saying, because there is parts of it that I believe, but I think like something like NATO doesn't make that possible in the time frame. In the time frame. 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 Time frame. In the time frame.